We'll go. Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm going to call this meeting to order, the August 21st meeting of the Board of Supervisors. This morning, we have Jessica Cooper from the Kingman First Assembly to give us our invocation, and then I've asked Supervisor Bishop to lead us in the pledge.
Do we need to recess out of?
Good morning. If everybody could bow their heads, please. Father, we just thank you, Lord, for this day. We thank you for each one of these supervisors, Lord, and we just pray that every decision and every choice, Lord, that they make, Lord, that we know that they're representing their county, Father. We pray for the budget. We pray for the people that they're putting in place in different positions, Lord. And Father, we just pray that everything they do is with wisdom. Father, we pray that the people that are going to come up to speak today, Father, they're able to articulate and be able to say what they need to say and get their point across, Lord. Father, as you've appointed these people, Father, to represent their county, Father, to represent their people, Lord, you chose them, Father. So I pray that they would make their choices and their decisions with integrity, Lord, and with wisdom. And we thank you for this moment. We thank you for this day. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If you join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Is Supervisor Watson on the phone?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
How about Supervisor Johnson?
I'm here.
Okay. I need a motion to call for an executive session to be held on September 5th, 2017 at 9 a.m. for discussion and consultation with legal counsel in accordance with ARS 38-431.03A3 and 4.
So moved.
I'll second it.
I'll take.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. I think that was 4. Okay. It's a little delayed reaction. Are there any committee and/or legislative reports? Supervisor Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I and Administrator Hendricks attended a meeting arranged by Senator Flake with state BLM officials of federal land of Mojave County. Senator Flake stated his desire to see the county and BLM come to an agreement. Our first meeting, and we'll keep you apprised of any progress in the future. Their managers group had a meeting at Camp Pendleton. Fish and Wildlife, National Park Service, and BLM managers, along with military-based command staff, attended. Barry Hillier, the executive director of Clark State, attended for us. He is on the steering committee. They went over, the boroughs, fire management, renewable energy, PIL, SRS, tortoise problems, RS 2477 legislation, and other issues. I've furnished a report to the clerk for your information. That's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Watson.
Thank you, Chairman Angus. I'm in beautiful Utah today. I'll be attending a seminar tomorrow, Wild Horse and Burro. Look forward to representing Mojave County in Arizona. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We look forward to hearing all about that. Supervisor Bishop.
I don't have much to report. I did attend a meeting in Parker last week with our economic development, Bennett Bradley and Dave Wolf, and we talked about different issues going on throughout La Paz and Mojave County, and at the end of that, we took a tour of a new chicken and egg farm down there that was very elaborate and impressive, so I'm happy for La Paz County. That's my report.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on, we are going to, I need a motion. Well, is there a county administrator's report?
I have no report, Madam Chairman.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
And a motion to approve the minutes of the July 3rd and July 17th Board of Supervisor meetings.
Madam Chairman, I'll make that motion to approve July 3rd, July 17th Board of Supervisors meeting minutes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, we're up to the call to public. Those wishing to address the board at the call to the public regarding matters not on the board agenda must fill out and submit to the clerk a call to the public request to speak form located in the back of the room prior to the meeting. Action taken as a result of public comments will be limited to responding to criticism, referral to staff, or placing a matter on a future agenda. Comments are restricted to items not on the regular agenda with the exception of the consent agenda and must relate to matters within the jurisdiction of the board. We have quite a few people signed up. When I call your name, please come down, give us your name and address, and please keep it pithy, 3 minutes. Your buzzer will go off, and I will ask you to sit down, okay? Ellen Quigley. Come on down.
Madam Chairman, my name is Eileen Quigley, and I live in Yucca. The meeting on August 7th, there should have been more people here, and the public notice was inadequate. In the rural areas, some people do not have the internet, and the only paper is the Standard that comes in once a week. In the past, the county displayed a bulletin board at the post office. Nothing was there, nor notice in the Yucca P.O. boxes. Snowboards are out of town, and when you do not give notifications, please give the list of all permits and the proposed increase. It is outrageous that the permit fee for a travel trailers to go up 800%. I understand there should be an increase, something reasonable, though between 100 and 150%. I live here year-round, and I cannot afford to build a house. This will be a financial hardship for me and other senior citizens, making it hard to make ends meet. Also in the rural areas, the county does not grade the roads, and most people haul water, and car repairs are always ongoing. It hasn't changed. No improvements has been done for us. And to think I'm paying more than someone for their property tax on their house in Cayman, it is not justified.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Next up, Erin Cochran.
Good morning. My name is Erin Cochran. I'm with Mojave Pest Control. We're located at 1524 Butler Avenue here in Kingman. I am here in regards to agenda item 12, the pest control bid. We were told by Andrew, the senior procurement officer, that the reason they had reevaluated the bid was to bring all of the similar services under one contract, including skunks, which is not something that very many of the current pest control businesses in Mojave County handle, which you can see by the fact that one company bid on this contract. The same services that you have been paying $979 a month for, you're about to approve the bid for $1,929 a month. That is $11,403 a year more than what you are currently paying for your pest control services. That is only the regular general pest control services. That is not including the skunks or the hive removal that were added to the bid this year. We tried to work with the procurement department, questioning why they chose not to renew to put it back out to bid. We were told it was in order to add value by bundling the services. If value means adding $11,000 to your budget, I don't understand the meaning of value. You're looking at closing libraries when we were charging you $15 a month or $10 a month for Chloride, Dolan Springs, Golden Valley, and Golden Shores, and the current bid that you've received are $60 a piece for those buildings. I don't understand what happened with this bid. We tried to work with the procurement department. We were told if you can't do all of the services that are now included, then you can either not bid on it, or you can opt to subcontract those services out to your competitors. I don't know anyone who's going to subcontract to their competitors, and I can't guarantee that they are going to provide you with the service that we provide. So I just want to bring this to your attention. I think that $11,000 in a budget when you're looking at cutting the educational services in this community is a lot of money. And I'm asking that you rebid this and that you put the bid process the way it used to be, where the services were separated. The fact that you received one bid and there are more than 50 companies in this county should say something about the fact that this bid, the way that it's organized, is not helpful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Carol, it's Ann or On?
Good morning.
Hello.
I still have a throat problem. First item, 19, want to correct the date to the 14th of October. Not
Okay,
the
excuse me, Carol, can you please, I'm so sorry, you're having trouble talking. Can you please just give us your name and address?
Carol Ann Dolan Springs,
And your address?
15021 Pierce Ferry Road.
Thank you. Okay, so you're said you want to speak about number 19 on the consent agenda.
Yeah. It's not the 21st. It's the 14th. I have another copy of the app
Okay.
if you need it.
Okay, thank you.
And one more thing. Library.
We'll be speaking about that later on in the morning, okay? Thank you.
Great.
Okay. Sherilyn Roberts. Sherilyn? Everyone remember to give us your name and address before you speak.
Good morning. My name is Sherilyn Roberts. My address is 6432 East Brooks Boulevard, Kingman. I'm talking regarding item 21. Everything that we have seen in the newspaper and even in the agenda here says that they're going to, from Painted Rock to Jamez Road. We've been told several times that's a mistake. So I would just like clarification, because we live at the very end, at the corner of Jamez and Brooks, and we're paying out of our pocket so we can get out our driveway. And our road there has just been atrocious. It's really bad. So I would like clarification to know if the county is going to do something, or if we have to continue to find funds to do this ourselves.
Okay, thank you. Just a clarification, Mr. Hendricks, this item is just to set a public hearing, item 21.
Madam Chairman, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. James Mack.
Good morning. My name is James W. Mack. I live on 10688 North Jamez Road, and this is pertaining to item 21. And not only item 21, but also a few other roads around there. When the county was moving a lot of dirt and everything, fixing up most of Brooks Boulevard there, okay, we have a lot of sand down on the bottom of Brooks, and we also have a lot of sand on the bottom of California Road. Now, UPS and FedEx and even the garbage company, these people are having a lot of trouble trying to get through there. They get stuck. And the other thing is too, is that Moonscape Way, when
the trucks were fixing Brooks Boulevard, they were using Moonscape Way to get to Brooks Boulevard because they were getting stuck other places. So with these big trucks going over Moonscape Way, which was a good road, that got pounded pretty bad. And the county needs to regrade that road and fix that road up because there's a lot of potholes in it. And then the other thing is too, over the last 8 years, the road department and floodplain and also Gary Watson knows about it. They have been changing the flow of water on the northeast corner of Valley Vista. Now what they did is they funneled all this water into one spot, where before it was spread out, and California Road never got washed out. Now it's all getting washed out. Not only the road, but other people's property is being washed out. So we need to work on that also, because it costs me a lot of money every year to fix these roads.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Royanne Ortiz.
Madam Chairman, my name is Royanne Ortiz. I live at 1550 Monte Vista Drive in Bullhead City. Your last meeting on the 7th of August, I didn't attend, but I did take the time to watch the video. Fortunately for me, I did it at 3-hour increments. I would ask that you not torture the public in the future with these 8-hour meetings. I couldn't, because I wasn't here, I couldn't observe the body language of the board. And I did observe that 2 board members were annoyed during the times that the citizens were coming down and complimenting Hildy Angus on her proposals for the budget. Also, there was one item on the agenda when one supervisor tried to belittle the other supervisor under item 54. And it just seems like there's a lot of personal animosity going on with the Board of Supervisors, and we'd like to see that stop. At the end, during the special meeting, under item 1, there must have been 8 votes taken. And in the end, it turned out that you're not going to fund the sheriff's compression problem. I am appalled at the action of this board. I hope you take some steps to get something on the ballot to have a sales tax approved in the fall. There was one person, one supervisor that didn't want to sweep funds, which is the reason why she didn't want to vote on that, because she felt it would be stealing. Okay, I feel now that you've stolen from the people and their personal and private protection. I also had other comments, but I guess I'm going to have another meeting to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Wayne Hollins.
Good morning. Wayne Holland, 4825 North Mormon Flat Road, Golden Valley, Arizona. Since the proposal for the code enforcement and stuff didn't pass at the last meeting, and we still have the problem out there, I'm just wondering, now what? Are we going to get longer hours at the landfill? We needed stronger enforcement. Like Supervisor Johnson said, we have the laws on the books. They ain't doing no good if we ain't enforcing them. We never have enough people to enforce them. So then what happens? What are we doing to entice the people to follow the law, take their stuff to the landfill? What's the county's proposal to increase that possibility? Been working on this problem for the last 2.5 years. I personally, me and my team of volunteers out there have did 173,000 pounds of trash, including 21 boats and 7,800 tires. Just our little group out there. And there's more out there. And then we have Kingman, which I was out a couple weeks ago with Erase, helping them out there on North Bank Street. That a little bit, but what are we doing to get the people who live in those areas involved in cleaning up their areas? I mean, there's got to be something that we can do to entice them to take care of their area, have some sort of clean. We have a free trash day. Well, that's good. They save up their trash for a year and bring it to the trash day. But why not a cleanup day? So I just think we need to do something rather than what we're doing right now, which is nothing better than what we already had. And since we didn't strengthen the people to enforce the laws, then let's do something to get the people motivated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hollins. Stance? Lauren? Is it Lauren in? Talking about ADOT? Oh, Arna, okay. Yes. I'm sorry. I should know by now.
I'm sorry. You'll get the grease. I'm in Schlange 4321 South Cavalry Road, Fort Mojave. And yes, I'm talking about ADOT and the roundabouts. I mean, the roundabouts are fine. On Camp Mojave, there's not enough room to put a roundabout in the first place. On Aztec Road, yes, there may be enough room, but the more pressing problem is Valencia. From the school, the people are coming out. When I go in my left turn lane, they just sit there and flip you off or get out of the car and threaten you. It's getting ridiculous there. And then as soon as ADOT starts working on 95 and blocks every lane off, they're starting to come down my road. Cavalry Road is still a dirt road. And we have to live there. You know, something needs to be done. Either the road is going to get paved or it's going to be a one-way road. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll be having a presentation by ADOT in a few minutes. Barbara Pape.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Barbara Pape, 3908 Jamboy Way, Bullhead City. I'm here for the roundabouts. Our county is a recreational tourism, and roundabouts is better operational on high-density residential areas. I don't think it belongs here, and we need to have our engineers to design what we have here. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Eva Corbett.
Eva Corbett, 2426 Topanga Drive, in the proud city of Bullhead City, Arizona. We are here to plead with the supervisors to revisit the budget and find some money for our sheriff's department. I have been a supporter of the sheriff's department since I moved here in 2009, and we need to find the money. I don't know how you can do it. Sweep somebody, sweep some departments, and not everybody needs a vehicle, okay? The sheriff's department is our frontline defense. If we were to have a tragedy in our county, who are you going to call? The Mojave County Sheriff's Department. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's it for those who have signed up for the call to public. Is there anyone else at this time who'd like to say a few words? Anyone? Yes? We're not talking about the library now, though. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to close the call to the public. And at this time, we have a presentation. Arizona Department of Transportation Northwest District Engineer Alvin Stump will brief us on the ongoing ADOT State Route 95 Access Management Study for a segment of SR 95 from Aviation Way to Teller Lane in Bullhead City and Fort Mojave.
All right, well, good morning, Madam Chair and Board. Thanks for having me. We are going to be starting the public comment period here in September and October for both this study as well as our safety projects there at Aztec. So just wanted to give you all a short briefing on it. As far as the long-term strategy for 95, we kind of see two parts to it. One is looking at improving access management along 95. The other part is looking at a parallel corridor, basically the vendor slice alignment that y'all did the DCR 10 years ago, I think, which I think we all recognize the need for that parallel corridor. One of the things my office did in this last spring was apply for a study to look at breaking down the project, which was a little over 40 million, into smaller, maybe more affordable projects so we could do it in pieces. Like, for example, Camp Mojave to the Parkway, just to start to relieve traffic rather than having to wait for 15 or 20 years to get the entire project funded. Start small and work our way there. So unfortunately, we were not selected this time, but we're going to submit again, and we'll keep working with your staff as well as the city staff on strategies there. As far as the study itself, again, it's about 20 miles between Teller and Aviation Way. Depending on where you're at, you're between 25,000, 40,000 vehicles a day. As far as the crash history, about 2,300 accidents, 16 of them were fatalities, 79 were incapacitating injuries, and 798 total injuries. A lot of the accidents were rear end and left turn, as well as side swipe. 35.4% were resulted in death or injury. As far as behavior, 120 of the crashes involved alcohol, 20 drugs. Distracted driving was about 26.8%, or 465 were cited for rear end crashes, and 59 were cited for side swipe crashes. So, obviously a issue there. I know it's might be hard to read out there, but breaking it down just a little bit further, there were 32 head-on crashes resulting in 5 fatalities and 1 incapacitating injury. 573 left turn or angle crashes resulting in 8 fatalities, 32 incapacitating injuries, 86 non-incapacitating. Rear end crashes, 1,177, 22 incapacitating injuries. I also broke down between distracted and DUI just to see the comparison. On the rear end crashes, you could see the large number of distracted drivers in those. Another keynote, when Federal Highways is looking at benefit cost ratio of safety improvements, they will look at basically assign a dollar value for fatalities and incapacitating injuries. And those numbers are 5.8 million for fatality crashes, 400,000 for incapacitating injury crashes. So if we take those numbers and apply those dollar amounts, there's an economic impact of about a little over 124 million on there. So where we're at right now is we've been looking at the accident data, evaluating potential solutions. This is a high-level study. When you get into access management, it really gets local in resolving the detailed issues in each area. But we are going to, for this study, focus on the north and south ends. Those are where a lot of the serious crashes are, and areas that we can resolve some of the access issues relatively well. Our plan is have stakeholder business meetings in September, and then have we're working on scheduling our public meetings in the October timeframe. Little quick update on the Corwin signal. We've been working with the city on this. A long time ago, it was planned to be at Sterling. When it got moved back to Corwin, there was breakdown in the funding, and so we've been working back and forth, but I think where we're at now is we're looking at a joint project that the city would construct a signal there under encroachment permit, and then I would apply for minor project funding for right turn lane at Marina going southbound, another project that's needed, and that kind of evens out our horse trading there. So told we should have a draft agreement here either this week or next week, so should be able to get that moving along. The city has a design for that intersection, so looking forward to that. So as far as possible improvements under evaluation, one thing not included is looking at upgrading our signal technology. That's something our traffic folks are going to be working on. I don't have a timeline yet, but 95 is targeted for that. But as far as our study, looking at raised medians to reduce the left turn and head-on crashes, looking at continuous T intersections at mid-block accesses to help with left turn movements. Roundabouts have been identified to reduce congestion and improve safety. And another thing, the city of Bullhead had asked for an updated speed study through the area. That's something we will do. We'll let the study run its course. I think there is maybe a possibility between Rancho Colorado and Marina where it might support dropping it to 35. I think outside of that, probably remain as is, but we'll see what the study says. Raised center medians we see is important. Depending on what study you look at, you'll see a 25 to 40% reduction in accidents and creates the traffic calming effect, which helps to slow traffic down as well. But personally, I wish we'd never started building continuous two-way left turn lanes. When they're first built and there's low traffic volumes, not such a big issue, but basically more traffic leads to fewer available gaps, which leads to impatient drivers, which results in poor decisions and ultimately accidents. And so that's kind of where we're at. And depending on where we're at on the corridor, the severity of those accidents may differ, but there's a lot of them. So that's the key reason looking at the raised median to help there. We recognize that we still have to make that work for businesses, and one tool is what's called a continuous green T intersection or Florida T intersection, which is basically a partially signalized three-legged intersection where basically the side with the cross leg would be signalized, but the other side would be allowed to continue onward. So this is an opportunity where I think we can improve the safety of left turns and minimize the impact to the flow of traffic. This is an example of one unsignalized. Given the traffic volumes, I'd prefer to have them signalized, but that's something for consideration too. Obviously, everybody's favorite roundabouts, they have their safety benefits. They've been shown to significantly reduce the fatalities and serious injuries and improve capacity as well. And they also solve a few other problems from time to time as well. So, next steps, we're in the process of scheduling the meetings for basically the public meetings and the business stakeholder meetings for the Aztec Roundabout and Raised Median project, as well as the excess management study. And so this is the time for public input. We work with the businesses on kind of hammering out the details on doing the accesses, but as far as the input on the project itself from the public, we understand resistance to roundabouts. We are open to listening to all other solutions, but I do want to remind everybody that we are looking at public safety here. That's at the forefront, but we're willing to have those discussions. But tentatively, we're looking at third or fourth week in September for the business stakeholder meetings, probably the third week, and then the public meetings, which we're envisioning probably having two, probably around the second week of October. As far as implementation, we're, again, these types of projects are small sub-programming funding, usually $1 to $4 million, but whether it's the safety funds or the minor project funds. Right now in 19, there's Aztec and the Raised Median project. In fiscal year 20, there's the Camp Mojave and the Raised Median to Valencia. Basically, the Raised Median is funded by minor project funding. The intersections are funded by safety funds. And lastly, with this study, we're going to be looking at submitting additional safety projects this fall. One candidate will be Aviation Way to 7th Street. The reason there's been 3 fatalities in that stretch, and we're still looking at the south end, but taking a preliminary view, there's a few head-ons that might cause us to look at another median project on the south end as well. And if in a nutshell, doing these projects are going to significantly reduce those number of fatalities and the serious accidents. So that's really what we're looking at. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions for y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Stump. Any questions from the board? Supervisor Bishop?
None, thank you.
No.
Supervisor Watson?
No, thank you.
Supervisor Johnson?
No, thank you.
Okay, well, I want to thank you very much for coming. This is my district. I want to thank you for working with Bullhead City on the Corwin Light, much needed. We have a lot of questions, and there's a lot of community angst about these roundabouts. And I'm very happy we're going to be having public comment. We have committees already ready to go with petitions because there's a lot of people who do not want this. We've talked about this, and we know, but I think the time is going to be in September and October, and I want everyone out there in my district to know that we will let you guys know, give you ample time and opportunity to get your thoughts and your groups together. We do need other bypass roads. I like that you're looking into Vanderslice, but there's also some other opportunities, maybe Mountain View, and we'll talk about that. And I want to ask you a question. In your studies, in your safety studies, communities that have passed anti-texting laws, what happens? Do you see a sizable difference when that happens?
That's a good question. I really have not seen the data, and that's something to look at to see if it's been effective. My gut feeling is I question how much it's going to. I think you almost got to somehow make that not an option for people to not do that, because it's like we talk about speeding. No matter what you post the speed at, some people just decide to drive what they want to drive, and I think.
So you don't think that the anti-texting, no texting laws really help safety?
I don't know. That's what I need to look at the data, because now
I'd like
that,
to actually know that,
Yeah.
because here in Mojave County, we're surrounded by communities that have no texting, and then, you're driving along and you're texting, then you go to Kingman, you go to Laughlin, you go to Needles, you can't text, and so we're surrounded by those communities, so I'm sure there's some data somewhere that.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do some research
Right.
and see what I can find for you.
Thank you very much. So again, we'll look forward to these public hearings, and that will be in Bullhead City, and we'll discuss more then. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda, items 5 to 31, will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion minus any items pulled for discussion. Any items pulled? Supervisor Bishop?
Number 12.
Number 12. Supervisor Watson?
None this morning, thank you.
Was that none? None, okay. Supervisor Johnson?
21, 29.
21 and 29, and I'm going to pull 19. So I need a motion to approve consent agenda items 5 through 31 minus 12, 19, 21, and 29.
Madam Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve items 5 through 31 minus items number 12, 19, 21, and 29.
Do I have a second? Supervisors, can I?
Second.
Was that a second? Okay, we have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, number 12.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I pulled this at the request of Mojave Pest Control. So if we could Becky O'Brien come up and just give us a summary, and then give the opportunity to Erin Cochran if she'd like to speak. Good morning, Ms. O'Brien.
Good morning. Becky O'Brien, Madam Chairman, members of the board. I'm here to answer any questions you might have concerning the process for the award of the new pest control services bid.
Okay, I do have a couple questions.
Sure.
I understand there's a pre-bid process in the procurement, and that's the time when anybody that has any problems or discrepancies or challenges come and discuss this with the procurement department. Is that pretty much how that works?
That is correct. Every solicitation that we issue, we offer a pre-bid or pre-solicitation conference. This is the opportunity for any interested bidder to actually dialogue with the participating county departments that have issued the bid. This is our opportunity to answer questions, to make any changes through amendment to the bid. And for this bid, we had 4 vendors attend the pre-bid conference. None of those vendors were Mojave Pest Control.
Okay, and that was back in late June, is that correct?
Yes, I don't have the date of the pre-bid conference in front of me, but yes.
Okay, and then there were three or four companies.
There were 4 companies that attended the pre-bid conference.
And some of those didn't qualify for one reason or another?
They were Truly Nolan, Sunset Pest Control, Patriot Environment, and Barron Pest Solutions. And one vendor didn't meet the time and business requirement, and the others chose not to submit a bid outside of Barron Pest Control, who is subcontracting with Patriot Environmental, so.
Oh, I see, okay, so, there's a question by Ms. Cochran, or a comment that she made that this is costing us $11,000 more in combining this contract the way it was done. Can you elaborate on that somewhat?
Well, the different services that were added to this bid were added at the request of the department that manages the contracts once they're awarded. And there were certain services that they were having to call out for that were not under contract. Therefore, we had no control over the cost associated to those services or the delivery of those services. And that was the reason for the update to the scope of work and the new solicitation. As far as the cost comparison, Mojave Pest Control did not submit a bid, so I don't have anything to compare to. They were the former contractor for these services, and there is a difference in the previous bid pricing and the new bid pricing.
Okay, are you comfortable with the way that this was handled, and is this something that you would change if you could do it over again, or did we do it right in your opinion?
All procurement processes were followed during this process. Every vendor had the opportunity to fully participate. And I believe that the recommendation for award is a good, solid award. It's recommending award to the responsive and responsible vendor that fully participated in the process.
Okay, and then Mojave Pest Control, we have the opportunity to bid the next time it comes around again, is that?
Absolutely. Any future solicitations, they would receive the same notification and have the same opportunity to participate in the process.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, have a motion?
I think Erin Cochran wanted to speak from...
Okay, Erin, I'll give you a couple of minutes.
Just a couple of rebuttals to what was said. When we spoke with Andrew, the procurement officer who was working with us, we asked him if we should be at that pre-bid conference. We asked him what we needed to do to change the bundling of the bid. We were told there was nothing that we could do to change the bundling of the bid. Either don't bid on it or subcontract it. So that is why we chose not to go to the pre-bid conference, because we were pretty much told there is no point in doing that. The difference of $11,000 is the difference between the current contract that we had, which you guys had the opportunity to renew for another 2 years, and the current bid of Barron Pest Control. That is only including the services that we were providing. That does not include the skunks or the hive removal. That was the current services that you guys had the opportunity to accept 2 more years of that bid. So it's not that you have nothing to compare it to. You can compare it to the services that you are currently receiving, which is a difference of $11,403 a year. We were told that there was no way to change it by Andrew, who is a senior procurement officer, so we did not go to that pre-bid conference, and we did not bid on it.
Okay. Thanks, Erin. Can Becky come on back up for a second? Can you explain the bundling aspect of this?
When we contract for services, the contract then goes to the departments to act as the contract administrators. On an annual basis, we ask them to review the contracts, let us know if they choose to exercise an extension option if that's available, or if they would like to go out for a new bid for the services. So we work directly with the departments to make those decisions. The decision in this case was to redo the scope of work to include the services that were currently under contract, but clearly aligned with pest control services in general, and then reissue a solicitation.
Okay, thank you. But there will be an opportunity, if it's, is this going to be the way it's going to be every year?
Madam Chairman, may I answer that?
Sure.
After receiving an email from Ms. Cochran, Becky and I did have a conversation, and a lot of times the county will bundle services to make contract management a little bit easier on us, but not at the expense of losing competition. And what we've seen in this particular exercise is that Ms. Cochran mentioned that there were numerous pest control services out there, and we only received proposals from one. We thought it was a fair proposal, and the company, we believe the company to be reputable, and it was a good deal to move forward. But I had a discussion with Becky that for next year's procurement, what we need to do is to look at what's in the best interest of Mojave County and our businesses, and possibly at that time evaluate whether the contract would be more easily administered versus receiving adequate competition from the industry out there in the future. And I believe the competition is a weighing factor that we should strongly consider in anything that we do from this day forward on procurement.
Okay, so you're saying that it will be different next year?
That's what I discussed with Becky.
Okay.
Yeah, we would be fully amenable to reviewing the new the contract at the one-year period and resoliciting for the services.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Erin.
Make one more comment.
We're done. We're done with
I can't
this.
make one more comment.
One more quick one, Erin.
I just want to point out that you guys are looking at cutting educational services. This is $11,000.
Erin, thank you.
That is
We
a
understand.
big difference
Erin,
between what you're
please.
paying now. By excluding the other companies and removing the competition, you are costing the county more money when you're looking at cutting something as important.
Erin,
as
we
the
understand. Please sit down, please.
That's fine.
Thank you. Okay, I'll entertain motion.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we approve agenda item number 12 as written.
I need a second.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, number 19. I asked for this to be taken out because I believe what the lady who came up at the call to public was saying, that the date of the event was wrong, that it's not, that the annual Dolan Day Celebration Parade event to be held on, it says October 21st, is the 14th. Is that correct? So we need to change that? And I'll entertain a motion on that. Is that okay? With the change, as written with October 14th, 2017.
Madam Chair, I'll make that in the form of a motion that we approve item number 19 with the correction from October 21st to October 14th.
Second? Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 21, Supervisor Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just pulled this off for the same reason I pull the other ones off. If we're having problems with our HERF funding, I don't believe we should be taking more roads in. That's all.
Okay. I need a motion?
Madam Chairman, I make a motion to approve item.
Madam Chairman,
Oh, yes.
Supervisor Watson here. If I can make a motion to set the public hearing for September the 5th, 2017, regarding petition to establish approximately 1.75 miles of East Brooks Boulevard, beginning at North Painted Rock Drive and ending at North Jimenez Road. We had several people speak to this issue this morning. It's a very difficult situation for those folks that are traveling that area up there. And what we're doing this morning is setting the public hearing. We're not making the decision on it itself. So make a motion for approval.
Okay, thank you.
Second the motion.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Is that that's a no from Supervisor Johnson, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Item 29, approve funding the remaining portion of the 3 school resource officers, $60,000 or 1% of the Sheriff's General Fund salary budget. I was asked to take this off just as an explanation. Is anyone from the Sheriff's Office here? Anyone from sheriffs? Oh, he's coming. I see people going up. I didn't see him coming down. Good morning, Sheriff Schuster.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the board. Just a quick explanation. This is a grant funding that has been secured by the individual school districts for many years. They were unsuccessful in their grant bid this year. We did an impact internal study to see the true cost effect. Ms. Lloyd was very helpful. Apparently, even though we had 3 school resource officers, it's only going to send us back $60,000 because there was additional funding in place for those officers this year.
Okay, very good. Any questions?
Nope.
Supervisor Watson?
No question.
Supervisor Johnson?
Yes, Madam Chair. The reason I pulled this off was if we're talking about, and the sheriff has come forward with just concerns about funding, and if the schools can't fund this, I don't know that it's a good use of our money to fund it.
Okay. Just for clarification, didn't you just say it was grant funded specifically?
It was outside grant funding. It was not funding that the sheriff's office had procured. They have lost the funding, so we're still working to have a presence in the school, but those assigned to the school resource division are now assigned back to the sheriff's office.
Okay.
So we're working diligently with the schools. It's an important thing to have the officers there, but without that funding, obviously we're trying to make it work.
I understand. Okay.
Okay, Madam Chair, I have a question. Sheriff Schuster, the 3 resource officers, if this is approved, would then go out on the street and become patrol deputies? Is that correct?
It's a great question. What we're trying to do is accommodate the schools while not losing the value of the officers with the positions. And I'll give you an example. I have a detective that was in school resources here in Kingman for years, so that's a job that can be done out of the school. He's going to be a property crimes officer. He's responsible for a variety of crimes that takes some of the burden off of our detective division while working out of the school to maintain that presence and assist when he can. We have another one that's going to be assigned back to patrol, and I'm still working with Mojave Valley, specifically River Valley, to see what we can do there. But no, they're not committed to the schools in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, so they won't be there 8 hours a day. These 3 positions will be integrated back into the sheriff's office in various areas.
Correct.
Okay, and how many deputies are you down now?
We are down, well, I have 87. How many are down? Maybe 30, 40, 50, I don't know.
I thought you were just down 1.
Are you talking about total staffing? I guess I didn't understand your question.
Yeah, the positions that,
How many openings do we have?
yes,
Currently, I believe we have 2.
2 openings.
Yes, ma'am.
And then once you get those filled, and then these 3 will help you, right?
Oh, definitely will help. If we
Okay.
can maintain that staffing, we're going to be doing okay this year.
Okay. Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we approve Agenda Item 29 to fund the remaining portion of the 3 school resource officers of $60,000, which I understand they have in their budget anyway.
Very good. Do I have a second?
Yes, I will second the motion.
Motion second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, I think motion carried unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to the regular agenda. You know, before we go on, I'm looking outside. At 10:30 was the time. They said that the eclipse was going to happen, so I'm looking. I think we woke up to kind of an eclipse. So, okay, so we're going to number 34. Discussion and possible action, adoption of the FY 2017-2018 tax levies and rates from Mojave County tax authorities, and acknowledge the tax levies for special districts, school districts, fire districts, and cities and towns in accordance with ARS 42-1715 and 42-17254. Ms. Lloyd.
Good morning, Chairman Angus and members.
This item before you today is the final leg of the final budget, and it firmly adopts and accepts those rates that were prepared and presented by the other districts. As of Friday, you were provided the most recent and updated schedule that we have, where we received the final leg of those for some of those school districts. So with this action today, you will be forwarding this information onto the treasurer. The treasurer will be billing these enclosed rates in the tax bills that will be issued within the next month.
Very good. Any questions? Supervisor Bishop?
No.
Nothing. Supervisor Watson?
No questions, thank you.
Supervisor Johnson?
Nothing, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Lloyd. And thank you for all your hard work during this entire very difficult budget. Thank you.
Make a motion, we approve agenda item 34, adoption of the fiscal year 2017-2018 tax levies and rates for Mojave County tax authorities, and acknowledge the tax levies for special districts, school districts, fire districts, cities and towns in accordance with ARS 4217151 and 4217254.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion. Yes. Supervisor Watson will second it.
Okay. Any discussion? All right. We have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
That was an aye in favor. Supervisor Johnson? Yes? Okay, you got it. All right, thank you. 35A, discussion possible action, request staff to reevaluate the changes in the Sheriff's Department overtime rules and report to the board on their findings. This was continued by the board at our June 19th, 2017 meeting. Mr. Hendricks.
Madam Chairman, on June 19th, the sheriff brought forth a proposal to reinstate how they were treating their callback and overtime policies. I believe at that time the board desired to look at the county not treating the sheriff's office differently and treating all county employees the same, and directed staff to get with the sheriff's office and work out some policy and procedure on how to handle these callback and overtime policies. And that was done. Ryan Esplin was instrumental in working with the sheriff, and so was Ken Cunningham, our HR director. And I believe at this time, if we could, I believe there's no action to be taken on 35A, and we could move to 35B.
Okay,
Is that
then let's
correct?
move to 35B, if there's nothing from the board. Okay,
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Madam Chair, I guess we need to go back through our rules of order or something, because I don't know why we're getting a 35A and B, why we have something that's brought back. The board continued to come back and have it taken care of. We've done it that way forever. We got two items on here that are basically the same thing. We're just wasting time on these items. It's something we need to address at some point. That's all, Madam Chair.
Well, thank you. Can we do that? Because I've noticed that too, that there's been a lot of double and even triple items about basically the same thing. So can we be?
We certainly can. Madam Chair, if I could address this particular issue.
Mm-hmm.
If you look, what's really being discussed and what was discussed between the group when we talked about this, it's really PTO and callback and shift extensions. It's not relating to overtime. So if we want to follow the open meeting laws, we want to make sure that it's properly agendized, that we put on the agenda what exactly we're talking about. So addressing Supervisor Johnson's concern, if we were to only address 35A, if that was the only item on this agenda, then we wouldn't be able to pass it because we're not addressing what is actually being administered here. It's not the overtime, it's PTO, callback, and shift extension that's really being addressed.
Okay. Supervisor Johnson,
Madam Chair?
do you have a question about that or a?
Yes, Madam Chair. When we continue something for more information or whatever else that comes back, it's still addressing the same item. It can be changed because it's posted and everything else. I mean, to do with that item. I mean, on 36 or on B, I have no problem. They've worked out a really good situation, but it just seems we're dragging issues out. We've done it that way in the past forever and haven't had a problem with the Attorney General or anybody. I just think we're
Okay.
stuttering when we do the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Maybe you guys can talk about this amongst yourself and come up with what is the legal way to do it and the right way to do it for future items like this.
Chairman Angus, I'd be happy to talk with Supervisor Johnson about it.
Okay, very
Absolutely.
good. Okay, so now we're going on to 35B, discussion, possible action, review, discuss, and adopt proposed changes to PTO, callback, and shift extensions, as well as any related changes the board believes is appropriate in Mojave County Personnel Policies and Procedures Rules 2.4 and 3.1.
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Any discussion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I've got motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 36, discussion and possible action. Provide direction to staff on moving forward with the public auction of 802 Beale Street, Kingman, Arizona. Any discussion on this?
Madam Chairman, I have some discussion on this item. It's been called to all of our attention that with the new building of the courthouse addition, that there may be some problems with parking. So we've been working with the city, and we have that resolved, but it's still questionable. Is that right, Mr. Hendricks?
Madam Chairman, to get a specific project update, I would need to discuss it have Steve Letowski come down here and discuss it with us. But I believe that the parking isn't 100% finalized. And one of the there was some discussion when the board first wanted to consider the potential sale of the 802 building. There was some discussion internal to staff that there might be a public need for that building, and the discussion was that we have a victim witness at 325 Pine Street. It's an older building behind, or just north of the courthouse. There may be some interest in moving, relocating those people, and what that would do is, if there was additional parking that was necessary for the courthouse, that would give us the potential to demolish that building and provide additional space. There was also some discussion that our CASA program currently, I believe, rents a building on Beale Street, and that may be a feasible use. So what I'm saying to the board is, I'm not sure, I don't believe that me as the administrator and my staff have adequately researched the potential for utilizing this building for other purposes. I did send out an email to the courts and to the county attorney's office, but I haven't been able to adequately follow through on those two emails to ask what their interests may be on these two departments. So what I would like to do, at least at this time, is to table this item to allow me to fully explore to see if there is a county use to where the county could actually save money and benefit us sometime in the future before we take that step to go to auction on this property.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Any questions or comments?
Yes. Mr. Hendricks, do you know how much the rental payment is for the building the CASA program occupies?
No, I don't. Madam Chairman, Supervisor Bishop, I don't know that answer.
Okay, and then the victim witness building on Pine Street, the county owns that building, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And I'm not wanting to, Madam Chairman, I'm not wanting to limit that, my looking at other departments having a potential need for this particular building. You know, I just mentioned those two as a possibility, and they might not be a possibility. I don't know, but what I'm saying is I haven't fully explored the alternate uses yet.
Okay, so I would assume that we would probably want to table this for a period until we could study it closer. And I know that there is at least one person here that's interested in bidding on that building. So I hate to keep them in limbo while we figure out what the county needs to do for parking for that courthouse expansion.
And Madam Chairman, I believe, and that's an important new issue that we're trying to address and finalize, but I believe if we could table it for 30 days, that would be adequate.
Supervisor Watson? Tabling it for 30 days?
Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
I have no questions, thank you.
Okay, and Supervisor Johnson?
None, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. I would then like to make a motion that we table this item for 30 days while we explore county possibilities of using the 802 Bill Street for county business.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 37, sitting as the Board of Directors of the Mojave County Library District, discussion and possible action regarding the future funding of Mojave County Library services and locations. I have a lot of people signed up, and you guys have been sitting here very patiently. Before I get into you guys, I want to put this out to the board and hear what everybody has to say, and maybe you'll hear something that you'll want to address, or we'll have taken care of some of your issues. Is that okay? All right. So Supervisor Bishop, would you like to start?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I just thought we can. Is there anyone on the board who has any comments about this? Supervisor.
Madam Chair,
Supervisor Johnson.
yes, Madam Chair.
Would you like to say something before I have the public come up and speak?
Sure, I can go ahead.
Thank you.
We talked about this during the budget time. Obviously, we're having a lot of problems with budgets and where we're getting our money from, and we increased the library tax just last meeting. We have duplications of effort on the outlying areas, and I think we need to look at either the reduction in site-built libraries, because we put in the bookmobile to service the people out there. Now we have a duplication. So in order to get the best use of funds, one or the other one should be cut back, and most other counties always have it that way. They either have a bookmobile or they have site-built locations, and we're duplicating the efforts and costing the taxpayers money. That was my concerns. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You got it. Supervisor Watson.
Thank you, Chairman Angus. I will be losing cell service here soon, so if you don't hear from me any further, that's the problem. I think we need to look at the library district as a whole, see if there's any savings we can entertain. So I am in no way saying that we're going to close any libraries today, but I think we should certainly take a look at our entirety of the system. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I am with Supervisor Watson. I want to look at it. I think we should wait until District 5 has representation here on the board, being that many of these outlying libraries are in that district, and I think it's only fair that you guys have a voice. And that being said, I will invite people up. You'll have 3 minutes. Again, this is going to come back in a more serious discussion when we actually have a motion to do something. Probably is a 30, maybe 30 to 90 days. I'm not making that motion. I'm just saying it's going to come back. So if you want to speak today, or you can come back and speak when we go through this more deeply, okay? Because I'm going to give you the opportunity. First up, Deborah West.
Chairman Angus, I would like to hear from Kathy Peniel.
Okay.
Before we have the call.
That's a very good idea. Kathy?
Thank you. And one of the things that I'd like Kathy to explain to me is the proximity to the city libraries. I know you gave us a handout which shows that we have a Fort Mojave library that's about 8.5 miles from the Bullhead City Library, and that seems like a pretty close proximity, so that's one that kind of caught my eye. So, and then I've been told that this library services a public school, so it made me wonder if this new event center might be able to build a library in that event center, and then we could close down this building because it's costing almost $44,000 a year, much more than any of the libraries anywhere else. So if you could help me understand that.
Certainly. Supervisor Bishop, members of the board. The library in Fort Mojave, first of all, I do want to clear up that it's not servicing a school solely. In fact, if you look at the statistics that I had sent out, if you look at circulation, about 30% of the circulation is to teens and children. 70% is to adults. So yes, it is co-located with the school. It's in the same complex, but it is not a school library, and we are still getting the majority of our use from adults, not the children.
Does the school have their own library?
They do not. They do not. As far as the location, I agree. It's 8.8 miles from the Bullhead City Library. However, that is something that I will just mention that our Citizens Advisory Board did not propose that. They did not go along with that proposal, but it was done. It's where it is. Do we have some problems because of the co-location? Yes. The traffic with the children getting in and out of school, are there some issues with people trying to pull out of the parking lot when the kids are running through? There are problems with the playground is basically the parking lot. I mean, there are some issues that exist.
Okay, and on this information that you provided, you have a lot of initials for the libraries. Is this SMV, like South Mojave Valley? Is that the initial for this particular library?
It is, and the reason that's there is it would cost us several $1,000s with our integrated library system to change it. It is the Fort Mojave one, but we never changed that because we didn't feel that was a really good use of funds to change some initials.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to understand what numbers go with what abbreviation. The building that this library is in, is that county-owned or is that school-owned?
It is not school-owned and it's not county-owned. We are leasing
So we rent
from
it?
a private person.
Okay, just wanted to state that I'm a big supporter of libraries. I think we need libraries. I think libraries are changing, and they're in some areas they're like a community center, and I don't know if that's right or wrong. I'm not really that well versed on modern day libraries, but I know we have a lot of classes like quilting and knitting and stuff like that for the community, which I think is good, but is it the function of a library? So that's something I'm kind of curious about. But then we have libraries in our remote areas. In District 4, for example, Dolan Springs and Meadview, they are quite a distance from a main library, and I would not support closing libraries down that have a long distance to travel. Others, I think maybe we could look at and determine if we don't have a revenue source to support our libraries, something has to give, and I think it's our job as responsible supervisors to look at that and do the best we can without hurting our communities any more than what's necessary. So in this graph that you provided from Golden Valley, which is in my district to Kingman, it's only 13 miles. I'm not advocating that we close that down, but it's close. Valley Vista to Kingman, that's 16 miles. It's a little bit further out, so probably a little more needed. I think the chloride mileage to the main library is almost 26 miles. So some of our libraries, if things really got bad, we should have the conversation that we're having now. And I think maybe we should prioritize those before we actually need to close any, but we should look at what if. So I guess I didn't have anything to say other than that.
Thank you, Supervisor Bishop. Does anyone have any questions for Kathy Pinnell? I guess not.
Chairman Angus, may I make just
yes,
a short
please.
comment? You know, one of the ways that I look at this, and it's probably not, you know, possibly the way that you do, but, you know, I'm not so sure that I agree with the closing outlying areas and keeping the cities just because the cities serve more people. When you look at the populations of the three separate cities, we've got about, in Kingman and Butler, somewhere around 40,000, Bullhead City maybe about 45,000, maybe 55,000, I'm not sure exactly, in Lake Havasu. But that means that the entire rest of the county is at least a quarter of the population. And should we consider maybe spending similar amounts for that segment of the population that we do to run our libraries in our three major cities?
Okay.
All right.
Kathy, could I ask your opinion on the bookmobile and the request line? Are those areas that are books by mail service, are those areas that are critical since we have so many outlying libraries to complement the main libraries?
Well,
is that an area that we could cut back on?
The books by mail is very minimal anymore. I think we have, when I checked, we had maybe 10 people on the books by mail. And part of the issue with that is in our outlying areas, it really isn't books by mail because the post offices don't deliver to somebody's home. Somebody's got to go pick it up for them. So what we've been doing is sending them to the closest library, and that person has a relative, a friend, pick the items up for them. So that is not a huge part of our business anymore. As far as the other bookmobiles, I mean, that's certainly something that we can look at. It depends on what is our main purpose. Is our main purpose serving those people in the outlying areas with the large bookmobile, the schools that don't have, in the outlying areas that don't have anything, and I'm talking about they don't even have a community library, Peach Springs, Valentine, those, or are you talking about the senior bookmobile that goes to the nursing homes, the assisted living areas? But we're certainly willing to look at whatever you direct.
Okay, I think we'll be talking to you more, Kathy, as this progresses, but you know, I'm sure the members of the public are going to tell us to save our libraries, and I don't disagree with that, but the same group of people are saying don't raise our taxes. So, gosh, I don't know. Let's hear what they have to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
If there's nothing else from the board, I'll start again. You have 3 minutes. Please keep it as short as possible. If Deborah West.
Hi, my name is Deborah West. I live at 7851 Oriole Drive, and I am representing not only South Mojave Library, I'm also representing a group of homeschoolers. We're called Tri-Scholars, and we meet there and have our events there. It's been a big part of our community. And I agree with you, they shouldn't have put it by the school. I don't know why they put it right there. It used to be by the post office over by where I live. And they did make a bigger library, but I thought it was gonna be, you know, further down or something else. So, but I do agree with you, it is a problem with the schools because even when I go to the library, I do have problems with the parking and things like that. but I don't think we should close the library because not only is it for the Mojave Valley people, it's also Needles comes all the way out there. Because I have people in our group, in our homeschool group, that are from Needles that come to our group. And I'm just here to represent that, and I hope that you guys really consider that, and this is our children. This is our generation. So my daughter grew up in this library. I used to be a volunteer at that library, so.
Supervisor Gary Watson
has left the conference.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have a question. Ma'am, I didn't understand the name or the group that you say that uses.
Tri-Schoolers, it's a homeschool group that's through Arizona.
Okay, and then Needles, do they not have a library?
Yes, they do. But most of the Tri-Schoolers come to our library because it's more convenient for all of us to meet there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think Supervisor Watson has had to leave. He's at a conference. Judy Hanson? I'll wait till the next. Okay, thank you. Wayne Hollins?
Good afternoon. Wayne Holland, 4825 North Mormon Flat, Golden Valley. I think we ought to keep the library open, if not even extend the hours. I mean, we figure out we can reach into our pockets and take the money we out for the fees for planning and zoning and raise the taxes and raise that. Why not fix the library? If money was swept from the library system in the past to use for something else, why did they get swept? They were in there, sitting there, not being used. So, oh, there's money, we can use it for a slush fund. So instead of having that money sit there, let's spend the money that we're collecting from the taxes, keep them open longer. I've never been to our library out there in Golden Valley because every time I want to go, it's not open. So make it open. We can do all this other stuff in there. God dang, we can keep the damn libraries open. It's getting ridiculous. Spend some money. You're collecting it, spend the damn money. Thank you.
Thank you. Don McWhirter. Please remember to say your name and your address when you come in.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, Supervisors. My name is Don McWhirter. I live in Golden Shores, 5471 Huaychuca, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the Golden Shores Library. As you know, Golden Shores is a very small, isolated community that we have no public transportation. And most of the people who live there, I say most, a large number of the families that live there are poor income, lower income people. And a large portion of our residents are senior citizens, a lot of whom do not have vehicles, do not have transportation to go, as it said in the paper, 56 miles to Bullhead to go to a library. You talk about the bookmobile, but does the bookmobile give you the videos that are available to these seniors? Does it give you the magazines? Does it give you the computer access? A lot of people use our computers at the library. A lot of young people, and especially a lot of the older people, they don't have computers at home. I, for one, do not have a computer. I go there to use the computer. You have set aside $6 million for a brand new library in Kingman. It seems to me that you could take some of that money and update maybe the Kingman Library, but also take some of that money and use it toward the rural libraries, the ones that need it. You know, we have a group of people at the, is that my time up?
You just wrap it up.
Pardon?
If you just wrap it up, you'll have a... How much, 30 second? 1 minute from that.
Okay, we have a group of people called Friends of the Library that supplement our income by holding ice cream socials and bean blowouts and having classes for the kids and so forth, and money that we derive from that goes right back into the library. So until we get a supervisor out there, as you said before, I think it would be behooving to all of us to look at this at some later time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ellen Love.
Madam Chairman, Supervisors, my name is Ellen Love. I live at 9360 North Cowbell Avenue, Kingman. It's in a development called Arizona West, near Valley Vista. I wanted to make this statement. I'm extremely disappointed by even the consideration of this motion. In 1998, I was one of the 3 original coordinators at Valley Vista Community Library. We worked for an entire year for free to show the community's determination to provide this service to our residents in outlying communities. There were several dedicated people who worked tirelessly to make this happen, who worked for years to get the library to come out there. Most of those have passed away by now. I felt and still feel that the services we provide are extremely important. We are not only service for Valley Vista, for the rich and famous, so to speak, golf course community, which is not true, but patrons who live 20, 30 miles away. Their travel, a round trip to come to Kingman would be 40 or 50 miles. And some of them live out in Terrace Road, which, like now in monsoons, is impassable a lot of the time. So I think it's unfair to those constituents that you're considering closing down this service. They frequently come to our library, as do others, to take advantage of the Wi-Fi signal and to use the computers. They're there all hours of the day and into the evening, sitting in a parking lot. I was one of the volunteers at the library for many years, and I was a volunteer leader along with Diane Drurian for the children's reading programs and summer reading games for 12 years. I've been president of the Friends of the Mojave County Library at Valley Vista for a number of years. My commitment to those volunteers and the service and time that they have given goes without question. Finding a decision to consider closing these outlying community libraries is a disservice to your constituents, not mine. I took it upon myself to send this information into our community to make your constituents aware of this possibility. I've received phone calls and inquiries from friends and neighbors that show great concern over this situation. I humbly ask for the board to consider another way. If you must have someplace fall, then I ask you to look carefully at the statistics for each area and make a completely unbiased decision and make the cuts that you feel may be necessary. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your passion. I think we all heard that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly Dreyer.
My name is Kelly Dreyer. I live at 3451 North Diamond Street in Kingman, Arizona. I am currently the Community Libraries representative for the Valley Vista branch. I just want to read a statement. Oddly enough, today's meeting and the solar eclipse seem well-timed, and in representing a community darkness where before there was enlightenment. Excuse me.
Take your time.
Most eclipses were thought to signal an impending catastrophe or an apocalypse.
Do you want to compose yourself and come back after?
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Which is what we will have if you shut down the community libraries. How many extra hours do you think it would take to absorb each branch's collection into the 3 main collections? What would happen to those 10 or so employees that work the branches, books by mail, and the bookmobile? Would they also be absorbed into the main branches like the collections? Also, if employees were reassigned to larger branches, would they get a gas allowance to drive to the closest library? Then there's the question of the 400 plus hours of PTO saved up by nearly each employee. Actually, I have an answer to that last one. That would have to either be used up, taking anywhere from 6 months to 5 years, depending on whether it's done as a one-time group or individually, or paid in a lump sum that at minimum would equal the yearly rent for South Mojave Valley Library. Plus, you would still have to pay for unemployment and pensions. The first part of our name is community. We are a main gathering spot for most of our communities to discuss or participate in programs designed to bring them together to get to know their neighbors. The children's story times are a cultural touchstone. One of the most popular programs offered in the public libraries is summer reading. We also offer computer help to the community where patrons can bring in laptops and electronic devices and receive attention in solving their problems and learning how to use them. The library is considered an essential part to having an educated and literate population. The American Library Association addresses the role of libraries as part of access to information and equity of access. Part of the profession's ethical statement that no one should be denied information because he or she cannot afford the cost of a book or periodical, have access to the internet or information in any of its various forms. We can even help you get books from libraries outside of our county so you aren't limited to the books that we have. Interlibrary loans allow libraries within the same system to lend their books to each other, even libraries in different states. Libraries typically offer access to thousands, tens of thousands, or even millions of books, the majority of which are available for borrowing by anyone with the appropriate library card. Will I have extra time?
We really got to move on. I think everyone speaking is sort of on the same page, and I'm sure somebody will say exactly what you're going to say. So thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, books are not dead. You can do the research online. If you don't have time for that, come to the library. I can help you look it up.
Thank you so much. James Robertson.
Yes, good morning. James Robertson, 655 West Hardy Drive, Meadview, Arizona. Pardon me, this is like usually the first time I've spoken public, but for someone like me, the resources of a public library, are very beneficial, especially with the services that, they have. And as you know, Meadview is roughly located about over 60 miles, from Kingman. And when I first heard about this the other day on Facebook, because that's the only way I heard about this, as a taxpayer and as a voter, what I don't understand is what's the benefit of saying closing down, rural libraries, for a few, basically as it was explained to me, building a new library. What's wrong with the one that's where it's located at right now? Because not only, besides resources, it also benefits, as you know, Kingman has a lot of homeless people, okay? In the summertime, it gets hot. A lot of the homeless people go there to read books, use the internet, whatever, to stay out of the sun. So, wherever supervisor thought of this, of this proposal, to me is ludicrous. $6.1 million to build a new library. Why don't you use those funds to allocate it, to help, in other areas, even improving like some of the neighborhoods, some of the roads, programs for the youth, because as you know, there's not much to do in Kingman, much less, in Dolan Springs or Meadview, for the youth or, even for other people. So, for that kind of money, improve it in the libraries, I understand, proximity, you can only have so many buildings within a location area, but for us who live in a rural area and are, taxpayer and a voter, there's going to be a lot of people, as you said, it's going to be speaking and agreeing on the same thing. So I hope when the time comes for you guys to vote on this that it gets opposed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nancy Hussey.
Morning.
Morning.
I'm Nancy Hussey. I'm from Meadview, and I'm representing FOL, Meadview Library FOL. Our library is essential to children's educational welfare in the community. 80% of the Meadview children are on the K-12 online school or are homeschooled. Not everyone is able to have internet in their homes if they do have a computer. The library provides one-on-one help and internet for these children, for college students and other students that want to further educations. We provide online access to employment opportunities. There are high school students that sit in their car in front of the library when it is closed and study on their laptops. Meadview is 65 miles from Kingman, and we have elderly people that do not travel to Kingman often. Our lease from the MCA, Meadview Community Association, is $1 a year for our building, for our property. FOL supports the library through donations from community and our fundraising with bookshelves, books, educational games for children, carpet cleaner, because it was too expensive for the library to clean our carpet, refrigerator, copy machines, fax printer for the computers because they wouldn't give us one that worked, bathroom storage cabinets, patio cover over the ramp, front ramp, storage shed outside, landscaping, and we even provide the garbage can and liners. If our community hadn't supported the library, FOL would not have been able to raise $43,000 that it took to build our meeting room. Thank you.
Thank you. You were in Virginia Johnson? Were you Virginia? Was that you? No, Virginia Johnson. I'm sorry.
Good morning. Hello, Ms. Bishop. It's nice to see you.
Good morning.
My name is Virginia Johnson, and I live in Dolan Springs, Arizona. I wanted to say that a library provides children's growth. They need to have books in order to learn. We don't have the transportation for a lot of people, and they don't have a way to get down to Kingman. And if they manage to get down to Kingman to get a library, they can't get back to return their books. The computers also help our children that are going to the community college and the university. Some of them don't have internet. A lot of people don't have internet out there, and a lot of them park out in front of our library also, so they can go to school. They need to be educated, and they can't be educated unless they have the resources. It's our responsibility. Our community is responsible to educate our children, and they need that. A library is not a want, it's a need. We need it. And I'm speaking for the Dolan people. A lot of them, I don't know if you're online with them, but you must be Ms. Bishop with the Chatterbox, and this went through our community like fire about the possibility of it closing. I'm glad to see that you understand our needs, because I listened to you, and I really appreciate it that you're thinking about us. So that's it. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Geraldine Hagar.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay.
My name is Geraldine Hager. I live at 5629 Bolsa, Golden Valley. I have lived in Golden Valley for 33 years. People use the library for new books, for their favorite authors, information on projects, Arizona desert, etc. DVDs are a form of entertainment, also some education comes out of it because we learn different things. Computers, elders on limited incomes to visit their families online. Oh, I don't know how to use the computer. We're there to help them. Makes their life much easier. Job security, job searching, Get a job. They spend money. More taxes, more money spent. That's good. Homeschooling, educate, self-improvement, dignity out of it. That's positive. Children programs, activities, we help educate them on the way. Positive. Adult programs, activities, social. Educate again, because we talk among each other and we learn. Positive. Summer reading program, all ages, educate. Again, they're learning. Positive. Small businesses use our computers to sell, buy, re-educate themselves so they can make their business better. They make taxes for us and spend money here. Good. New people move to Golden Valley and make great improvements upon their property. Great. They are so happy to see a community library. They come in and tell us. That's a positive. Who believes in our community library? Our schools, VFW, American Legion, fire department, jail, prison, homebound people, who we also go and help make sure they get books and stuff. We all work as a team to help each other. I have watched for 33 years Golden Valley volunteers work hard to have a library. We are so grateful to have one, but it's been a lot of hard work. Now you may take it away. It will be just another tax waste. Empty building. How sad. I am a taxpayer and a voter. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Georgia Mitz. Georgia?
Gotta say, the last speaker was very positive.
Very
I enjoyed
positive. Yeah.
I enjoyed that presentation.
Me too.
Madam Chairman and the board, I want to thank all of you for giving us our chance to have our say here today. I'm not going to take a lot of time because she just managed to say what I did or what I was going to about Golden Valley. But there are some things that we do out there that might, be worthy. Right now, we're working on a big wall hanging, a quilt type wall hanging. And we are teaching ladies who didn't even know how to thread a needle, how to quilt. We also have beading classes going on, making different types of jewelry and stuff, a lot of things. And there's things for the kids. They just recently did a robot, made a robot out of battery, out of automatic electric toothbrush, okay? Now, these sheets of paper, we didn't know we should have done one for each one of you, but each one of these sheets of paper has 2 cards. Our teenagers went out over the Saturday, not over the weekend or the week, but Saturday, and every one of these, well, not everyone, some of them came from the library, but a lot of these came from our teenagers who did not want to lose our library in Golden Valley. So somebody told me to give these to you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
And by the way, I'm 77 years old, so you have to...
God bless you. Okay, Sharon Weber.
Hello, I'm Sharon Weber. I live at 715 Parkview Avenue here in Kingman. I'm addressing the board about the library. A lot of people today have said a lot of the things that I was going to say, so I'm not going to reiterate because they've said them eloquently. The very fact that these people have come from all over the county to ask you, to plead with you not to cut funds to the library tells you something very important. A community that's well educated has less crime and better employment opportunities. And one of the most key factors to supporting public education is a strong library system. It is a place for not just to get books, it is a place that people come to get resources for study in various areas. These outlying areas that you're talking about closing or considering closing, the smaller libraries, whether it's 13 miles or 26 miles or 30 miles out, for children and families, for homeschooling parents, for senior citizens, it will be a hardship to have to come into the major cities to use the library. You would be taking away the most important gift from some of these folks: reading literacy that they could have. The things that enrich their small communities and help them to grow, help their kids to be able to finish high school and go on to college. You would be punishing the people that need the service the most to cut the funds to these services. I would urge you all to really, really think hard and long about cutting funds to the library services. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yvonne Meredith.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Yvonne Meredith, and I live at 5680 Westboro Drive in Golden Valley. I came before a board some 20 years ago to ask for a library in Golden Valley. My group, the Friends of the Golden Valley, was the very first group. And we finally, on March 1st, 2005, received our library. For all the counties, we ask that you please leave our libraries in place. They are essential to every community in this area. Not everyone can get to Bullhead, Lake Havasu, or Kingman. Our librarian is absolutely fantastic. She's got a great program going. Our ladies love her. And I'm still here after all these years. And my group, I'm not the group anymore, but my group led this whole thing for Golden Valley. And we would appreciate more than you know the key to reading is the key to everyone's future, and it is the key to our whole valley's future. Kingman, Golden Springs, Meadview, all of them, and Fort Mojave. Thank you very much. Please
Thank you.
reconsider. We need our libraries, and we need CAT in place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your years of service. Carol Ann, you spoke earlier. Did you want to speak on the library? Because I have it down for that other item.
Thanks, everybody, for what you said. One question: how many of the supervisors have physically visited the libraries? Because if you haven't, please consider what they've done with the funds they've already been allocated. It's phenomenal what they do for the communities. I'm from Dolan Springs and Meadview, and when I first moved there, I didn't go to the chamber, the council, the school. I went to see the library, then the school. So my involvement with the school encourages you to please keep our library.
Thank you, Carol. And thanks, everybody, for all your passionate remarks. Think I can speak on behalf of Supervisor Bishop and myself. We appreciate it. We appreciate you showing up anytime a citizen comes and sits here and waits to give us 3 minutes. We appreciate it, and we're listening, so thank you very much. Okay, with that, we are off to item 38. Oh, we have to do something about this, don't we? 37?
I don't believe there's any action necessary on this.
We need to continue it for a while?
If you want to continue it, you'll have to take action to continue it.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Okay, I will make a motion then to continue this item for 30 days and ask the Kathy Tennell to get us more information and do a little more research.
Okay, Supervisor Johnson?
Yes, Madam Chair. I might just ask if Supervisor Bishop would just make that to refer it to staff to come back with something so it's not a timeline, that they have to get it done in 30 days.
Okay.
Yes.
Madam Chairman, there was some discussion of the crowd wishing to have representation from District 5, and that may provide some bearing on the timing if it was, that the supervisors might want to direct staff to work around that time schedule.
So we can just leave it open-ended?
Well, I think the new position will be seated by the second meeting in September. Is that correct?
They would be selected on, ideally on the 5th, and like what was mentioned earlier today, that they would not be, they would have some requirements before they would actually be officially seated. So it would be sometime around the 5th, after the 5th.
Okay, so let me
Madam Chair?
Yes?
I believe the staff should probably bring us back, just not just the library, at least from my point of view, and I'm sure probably other board members, that we're faced with a lot of debt that we have. We had the sheriff who was asking for property tax increase or sales tax increase, and it's something that's an overall plan. I mean, we did raise the property tax for the library to keep it open, but we didn't raise the property tax for the sheriff. And while everybody wants their special things to be funded, there's only so much that the property tax owners can bear, and it's a decision that we're going to have to make on a financial situation, not so much on a heartfelt situation.
Okay. All right, thank you, Supervisor Johnson. The only thing I was thinking is, because the new supervisor, if they're seated the second, might give them a little time to get acquainted with the issue and maybe speak to their constituents, so they're not sort of thrown into it and having to make a decision so big as this.
So what would be your recommendation
Maybe,
time-wise?
Well, 60 maybe to 90 days. What do you think? I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, first meeting in October. So I'll withdraw my first motion, and I'll make a motion to continue this item until the first meeting in October.
Okay? Do I have a second for that? I'll second that. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, I believe that passed unanimously. Okay, item 38, discussion and possible action, consultation with attorney of public body pursuant to ARS 38-431-03 to consider and discuss a request for waiver of conflict of interest involving Triple G Partnership v. Mojave County and Cheryl Sweeney's representation of the county on water issues and analysis of Riley, Carlock, and Applewhite as it relates to past and present litigation involving Mojave County. Do I have a motion? I believe, do you want to make the motion, or do you want me to? We're going to continue this?
Why don't you do it?
Okay. I believe the motion will be to continue this to get more information back from the legal office.
I would say if we try to continue it into October as well.
Okay, same thing, to the first meeting in October?
That'll give us enough time, thank you.
Will it?
Yeah.
Okay. Supervisor Johnson, okay with you?
Madam Chair, the question I would have is, we hired this person already. There will be no billing going on until this is brought back to the board, is that correct?
Well, any time that they spend on the case, it will be billed. It'll be fairly minimal because we have to sort through any possible conflict, but there will be some minimal actions, I imagine, that may take place, discussions with them about the issue.
So,
whenever you take phone calls, whenever you work with the attorney, they work on it, you're dealing with it. We're trying to minimize it as much as we can, and I'll emphasize that with her, that we're trying to minimize it as much as we can.
so we're paying now so they disclose the conflict, we're paying for that on top of everything else. Okay. So the motion is to continue it. Did we? I'm sorry, I already forgot. Did we have the motion? And okay, and I'll second that.
You made the motion, I'll second.
Oh, geez, I got a short-term memory problem. Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, 2-1. And 39, discussion possible action, reassign position 970014, Records Manager at the Clerk of the Board's Office effective May 27, 2017, and authorize staff to continue to work with the Recorder's Office to ensure a smooth transition of duties. Supervisor Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since this issue has been put on, I believe that the clerk of the board has found a way to handle the records at hers. Well, I'm not happy with the way that's being done. I mean, it's the best she can do. There'll be no action need to be taken on this for me.
Okay, so there's no action? So that's it. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that. This meeting's adjourned. All in favor? Well, all right.
Aye.
Everybody wants to adjourn.
Supervisor Johnson?